Hey you guys, I bet that wasn't that easy, was it? Especially when I noticed that everything was all wiggling around. But as soon as I was finished with you guys and I got to listen to it and hear back, I found myself going over it, until like 2 o'clock, almost 2 o'clock in the morning. I flipped it around, turned it around, I tried to figure out what the hell was going on, and finally came back to the original idea. Now, it tells you who the four anchor spots are, which is Judah, Reuben, Dan, and it's Manahasan. This becomes the man, the lion, the bull, and the eagle. And, those four, are right, and their buddies are either right beside them or fall in some kind of line that are also with them to make them threes. And what's really interesting about that is that in the process of finding all that information out, what I did is I wound up writing it all down. And what I did, I drew it. I have a drawing right now of like the northern view of Earth. And I have a little sun over on this side here, and I'm projecting the light. The moon itself is spinning counterclockwise, as if the north would be up here, and it'd be like, at the north. So we're looking at it from here down. And so we're actually going around the sun in a counterclockwise motion as well. So the Earth is going this way at the same time it's going around the sun. So it has this little business with a wobble. And of course, that's what they say is how we get our different seasons, was by the way this works. But it's just our trip all the way around the sun doesn't go that fast. It takes a whole year to get around. And as it does, as it turns up here in this upper corner around, what happens is I'm going to cut this, I'm going to make another one, I'm going to cut it out, and I'm going to make a little graphic. I'm going to make a big one that I can show you this. It has our time on it, tells you where noon is, tells you where midnight is, the direction. When we look at the drawing that you get when you draw this out, we're in the age of Taurus. That's the day. That's where sunlight. The way they have me drawn out, we are our constellation where the stars are at when this was written about was the age of Taurus, and you could tell because that's what it is. So I could take this back here. If this thing could move, I could take you back through the different times, because basically each one of those has 3 cycles in it, or the 1, 2, 3. It's just the way that the grand year or the great year works, and it's using each one of those phases of time, as its own time. It gets to influence us, and that's how, people don't want to say that the stars above us don't give us anything at all. The Bible tells us a lot about it, that they are our influence, and through the ages, we're getting better, is the way it's working. And in the process of finding out about this, you find out a little bit about time, find out about how do we know where we are in the world and in the universe, and it becomes really quite telling, because it's everything is divided into 12s, and then we got our 60 minutes and stuff like that, 60 seconds, and every 72 or so years, the whole Mazzaroth, the whole zodiac scheme clicks backwards 1 notch. It's just part of this. This is how our ages change. So, when people say it doesn't make any sense, this is how we know where we are in time. And people have kept this up pretty good. And even through all the changes and the date changes and the Gregorians and all these different calendars that came to life. But everyone is saying pretty much that this all the whole thing started, the first age would have been Leo. And this is some 11,000 or so years ago. And Leo winds up being one, which is this is after the deglaciation, or this is during the time, something happens, and the big ice caps melt, and water raises up 400 feet all around the world. So plus it's warmer now, so I believe that people are starting to worship the sun at this time in the world, and that one being that God. This is where we get our the praise for everything, our food, our life, and everything. It goes to Leo, goes to the sun. The second age is Cancer, and this, of course, because of all the sun, now we've got water going on, and there's this building of the house. If you understand number 2, it follows along in these number system that we have. 3 is Gemini. What Gemini is about is the golden age of wisdom and intellect. So what you would have is the first 2 ages coming into 3. This is just how we read the Bible, whereas the first was the initiative, and the second was the creation, and then the third is the creation and the initiative, and then together. And then so 4 is Taurus, is the bull. Agricultural age, civilization, permanence. We start building things, and this is where I think all these megaliths and stuff like that come out from this time of because this is Taurus. And then the 5th age was Aries, and Aries is about war and fighting and this and that, and there's probably all this destruction, but it also means about challenge, and it's the individuality and independence is emerging. 5, so 5 is your skin, right? The individual. Then we have the 6th world was Pisces. This is where duality starts to come in, where they were saying, hey, bringing the male energy and the female energy together and bringing enlightenment together. So Pisces is the age of where you start getting some kind of beautiful enlightenment showing up. All right. Then we got the 7th, 8th, so 6 is actually, that would be 6 is works accomplished. This is what we've done so far, so we're at 6, we're at the top of the line. 7 becomes, this is where we are right now in Aquarius. We're in, this greater spirituality, it's a science, brotherhood. Now, what I've been getting out of this Aquarius is on the big scale of things. Aquarius started in 2012, so we're just getting into it. It's like 26,000 years of this. All right. We're at the winter equinox, so this is almost along the lines of the equinox in the Bible, or in the story. The equinox, this is down here, this is the solstice, the winter solstice, okay? So that's where you have that 3 days and 3 nights of being in the tomb, where you're being reborn. So Aquarius winds up being greater spirituality and science and in brotherhood. Now, we feed from one guy into another, and we're going into the age of Capricorn after that, which is building and rebuilding, establishing or reestablishing order. I'm sure there's something that happens in between here that's going to fuck a lot of things up, because there's a whole lot of, this is all, it's not empty between here and there, but when this happened before, you can see that this is a cycle, that these things all get their chance. Every one of these princes, which is what they would call these in the Bible here, they get their chance to rule, and their influence on earth in our psyche. All right, and believe it or not, it comes up It's the sun, just like I was thinking. It's the sun that's coming up and it's blazing through the sign that's affecting us and bringing about this kind of cycle chain between us. It could even be changing our molecules. All of this can be governed by the sun. Who says that we're set in this way, and something could befall us, and perhaps it was along the line of these changes. This is us growing. Because as you keep going here, Capricorn says we are building and rebuilding and establishment. Then we go into Sagittarius, and this is real inner joy, a cycle of renewing. We know that what is Sagittarius is it's a healthier place. Supposedly what we're doing in this time is we're learning how to do things better. We're more closely attached now to spiritual times. There's not a lot of people on earth. Things are able to kind of resurge themselves. So there's something that's happened between here and there, which happens about, they say, like about 12 to 15,000 years, which isn't that far apart from each other. But that's supposedly when when our ice sheet, when the southern ice thing melted off of the northern hemisphere here in Canada. Scorpio is death and rebirth. Scorpio always winds up being that the seed, the planter of something new. It's known in our Bible and known as a Kundalini. All right, it's this idea of wisdom coming through, and it's the last battle, they would call it. This is when we go through this, and I was getting to where I was starting to understand that perhaps we have to go through this hell, just like they were saying that this has to go on. There'll be wars and rumors of wars and this and that and pestilence in the land and all this. This is what has to happen before you can give birth to this child. I mean, this is what they were saying, that before the end of time, that this, and this have to happen. And so you'll see that you're climbing up the ladder, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 7 is the completion, and you get it done, and the enemies and those things that come against you are vanquished, and then you're brought back down again. But it's not the end of the time, because you get to have another go at it with a system that's all been wiped clean, right? So if you were to take that kind of thinking into the outside world and our influences, that this bad side of us gets this chance to rule, and it seems like it's going to do that through the times. It's Taurus, Aries, Pisces, that's fall, and Aquarius and Capricorn and Sagittarius this is the underside, this is the darker side of all the stories and texts. They're only telling us the good things because, there's a lot of good things that can come out. All of these are in a duality because, we get our choice. But winter is when we have the less light coming out to us from the sun. And winter is always known in our books as being the wolf. And we are the wolf. And dividing our spoils, and stuff like that. It's just the way that we are, the skin is recognized when it goes on about without being connected or being as one. And so you'll see that Scorpio would be a death and a rebuild after this point. So what's next? What happens next in our lives when this happens is you get reborn, and there's a whole new, this one here is the Libra. Libra is the balance, right? This is called the peaceable kingdom. The peaceable kingdom. And this is when males, a man and female and animal alike can walk around and together. There's no animosity. There's no. I think we've all become vegan. Through all of this cleansing and changing and rebuilding and renewing of ourselves, that we have now come to this point in Libra where we are in the peaceable kingdom, and then we're still striving even further. We go into the age of Virgo, where we'll get this healing and the initiative of mind. So it's really, this is this golden era showing up where they say that this is in the Scorpio. They show Scorpios reaching up to Libra, and it can either try to take her away, but it's really just reaching. It's wanting to grow. It's the idea that we're spiritually more and more involved as these ages go on. But there are ages and ages past. But this is what I think we can look forward to in our body's histories, in our soul's history, not our bodies. And I stopped there because it began at Leo, and I guess it would have to start again. So this is the mystery of the Sphinx, and I'm not the one that invented that. The idea, the head of a woman and a body of a lion, is that idea of completion, that you went this way. Maybe I would even get to wear it, the little snake sticking out, or the rays of sun, or the halos that go around you. All of those things are symbols of an enlightenment. And you don't see it, but that's what they're implying on most of these things. And when they talk about that that they really are looking for mono, one God, but they're overlooking this idea. How do you get one God out of all of these things that if the science holds out, and what we've been finding out, that you're Jesus, that you're God, but God's image is Elohim with male and female. So you have male and female in your brain as our image of God. Plus we have also been called the image of Jesus, that we called being his, to follow in his way. That when you evoke this energy and bring mother and father together, you're one. So all of these stories about the state of Israel is a state of mind, that once you conquer those four facets of yourself, and all of these things are spelt out, and it would not hurt to go and learn some more about yourself, because they said to know thyself is to know God. Okay? All of these wonderful things are talking about you. And what would run for... I haven't gone crazy. I could be very much a God. I create all the time. I build stuff. I'm not doing anything, Some kind of self-suicide going on here. But, just get past that idea that we put God on such a pedestal. We put Jesus and all these people. These are the giants that are devouring us. And so, you just got to put the myths aside and see this for what it's talking about. It's talking about you. And then all of a sudden, you can, shirk the burdens that religion has done and put on. Have those earthquakes in diverse places to get rid of them. Cry, get rid of that poison, what's inside of you, and continue to communicate, or to stop in and say hi every now and then. It costs you nothing, and it says that's how you play the game, boy and girls, or people, for all you out there. But anyway, so that's how this whole thing is coming about, this procession. And to tell you the truth, winter is going to go for a good ass long time. They say that Capricorn, we won't see the age of Capricorn for about 2,000 years. That's a good long time. That's a whole mess of lifetimes in between there. That's a whole lot. But I absolutely loved going through this, learning myself and doing it out for words, creating this earth down here and spinning it around in my dyslexic brain, because I call it count my apples. That's why I even write everything down, and it's just easier for me to go through it, and it just takes so much time, and I can't believe I got this pen. Look how far, all that. I don't think I'm ever used to seeing me use a pen up, tear the shit out of pencil. But how cool is this? So, you have this beginning dates of being Leo, with this the deglaciation and sun worship, and then you have Cancer with the floods and all this, and then Gemini. This is just really, really cool how this progresses into something more beautiful, but something has to give here, between here and there. Something is going to give, because we've made it. We're at 7. 7 is some kind of. This is 8 when it comes down to building and rebuilding and reestablishment. Remember, 8 in our books is always the renewal, when things get rebuilt and redone inside of us. That this would be something that would probably affect things that happen on the outside, because of the influences that they have. That whatever we do during this time will be what's reflected in Capricorn. So whatever it is, and the way I understand this, in our Bible, Jesus is asked about the Last Supper, or last time, when will we see you? And he mentions this idea of I'm with you till the end of the age, not the end of time. He says, I'm with you till the end of age. When you enter into a house where you'll find a man carrying a pitcher of water, once you enter into his house, I want you to go upstairs, and I want you to meet me in the room upstairs. That's where you'll find me. So this is where most all the stories will end, is Aquarius. This is where we are right now. The Bible he ends at this. He says, so what he's saying is maybe that it's easier right now, because in this world right now, Aquarius means it's a greater spirituality, and this idea of maybe religion is going to give in to science. Maybe, because that's all this is. We have to get rid of the dogma, or we're going to, destroy ourselves. So this is somewhere between here and there. We have to make a big decision, because it's only going to give us one other age after this one here, in this Capricorn, where we're rebuilding, and then in Sagittarius, when we're learning real inner joy, and stuff like that. But it's like we have to go through a cleansing ourselves. So perhaps it's not really saying that we can get away from that. Maybe we could, but it also seems like in our world where it tells us that he says, verily I say to you that these things have to happen before you could change. And like with me, it was I just had enough of all of this garbage. I'm tired of the lies. I'm tired of any of this crap that I've been pulled and learning around and dragging around and pulling me down. Some people can't recognize, what's bothering you? That's like, goddamn, you just don't understand. To have all of that stuff gone and lifted it off my shoulders and stuff like that, I am a new guy, a new man, just like they say, You'll only know me by my tongue. That's the only thing that you're going to hear me by, because the rest of me would be like I came from from a foreign land. That's how that story was going the other day. And so, sure, we can have all this enlightenment right now, but it looks like through time, you're going to get it no matter what. And the devil has his day. You know, the idea that Aquarius started in 2012. That's the winter equinox. This is where the sun dies. So perhaps there's like, we have the idea of there being darkness, everyone deciding darkness over light. Now, in the other story, when you go into darkness, darkness is where you find the light. But in the outside world, it's people that have decided to go into religion and stuff like that. They don't get the light. They've taken the dark path. That's what they're talking about. So remember, we're in a choice situation. And we are just probably popping out of that area. With the number 7th chakra, Aquarius, and it's just the beginning of a trinity's worth of worlds. And I think that means 12 eras at 180 years each. That's a whole lot of waiting. But anyways, that's what we'll wake up in when we die or we come back again. We're going to be waking up into these future times. But, little at a time. All right, one click notch at a time. So I hope that got you somewhere to show you that, this, I can put this up here one more time. North, south, east, and west, and Cancer at the top. What I'll do is I'm going to wind up so Cancer's at the top, and we have the guys down here at the cusp. This is where we are on the big wheel right now. This is between fall and winter. That's where we are right now in Aquarius. It's pretty cool shit. The coolest shit on earth. Wow. Anyways, that's a lot of fun, cool stuff. Alright, and see, it's been raining here, but I guess I stopped enough so I can get something done. Best to you guys. Love you.